Life in the valley. How many people are here in church today and you are in the valley waiting to be lifted back to the mountaintop? I am sent to you. Life in the valley. In Psalm 23, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, the takeoff point of this narrative is though, that is, if by any chance you find me there. If you find him there, it's an error, it's a mistake. He doesn't live there. Life in the valley. But we are now told what it is there. We are told what it is there. The valley of the shadow of death. Life in the valley. In the shadow of death. Life in the valley. Soaring on the wings of faith. We're taking you. What are you doing in the valley? Life in the valley of dry bones. Life in the valley, mass burial of casualties of war. Life in the valley, what are you doing there? After Elijah had finished a national crusade on Mount Carmel where the whole nation gathered and were converted and convinced, and a witch drove him out of town. You've just operated on the mountaintop. You came to the valley. A witch drove you out of town and ended your ministry because you never came back to town to continue. And we have now to come to you and lie in the valley there. What doest thou here? What are you doing here? We just finished a crusade. The whole people gave their life to Christ, blah, 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 blah. And then they're looking for my life to take it. And he sat under a tree and asked God to kill him. Is that how God kills people? A witch promised to kill you in town. You ran away. Now you come here to come and ask God to kill you under a tree. Is that how God kills people? Spiritual frustration has no hospital. If it is true that you want to die, you should have waited for the witch who promised you death. Does God kill people? When you have fatally failed, you try to spiritualize your error. And it doesn't hold. If in truth you want to die, you should have waited for the person who promised you death. You're sitting under a tree and ask God to kill you. Is that how God kills people? Life in the valley is a confusion because that's not your place. But the valley is a place you come to as a result of you lost your balance up there on the hill and you ended up in the valley. Life in the valley is a life that is waiting to die. Life in the valley is in the shadow of death. Life in the valley is reminiscent of dry bones who lost their battle, dry bones of human beings. They were ambushed in war and they were prevailed upon and given mass burial in the valley. Life in the valley is a place of mourning and weeping. But the fact is this, that God still has the men that have become bone, men that have been reduced to bone. God still has them in mind when he carried Ezekiel and said, let's go over there. There are certain people who have lost their personality. They've lost their essence. They've lost their ministry. They've been reduced to bone. We can't recognize them anymore. They've lost their identity. We need to cover them back with flesh. We need to cover them back with skin. We need to cover them back and put life back in them. Life in the valley. How many people are here in church today and you are in the valley waiting to be lifted back to the mountaintop? I am sent to you. In Judges chapter 16, Then Samson went to Gaza, the same Gaza, where they're fighting now, and saw there an harlot and went into her. And it was told the Gazahites, saying, Samson is coming hither. And they compassed him in and laid wait for him all night in the gate of the city, and were quiet all the night, saying, in the morning, when it is day, we shall kill him. And Samson lay till midnight, and arose at midnight, and took the doors of the gate of the city, and the 2 posts, and went away with them, bar and all, and put them upon his shoulders, and carried them up to the top of the hill that is before Hebron. And it came to pass afterward that he loved a woman in the valley. Yes, I don't want to talk about this, but in spite of his backsliding, I told you yesterday that adulterated fuel is still fuel, sir. We even drive with it. A prodigal son is still a son, it's only prodigal. He went into a harlot, and God was still there with him, and the enemy camped him round about there with a view to capture him and kill him there and end him there. That is life in the valley. They will kill you because you went there. They didn't come to you. They know they can't. And he carried everything and domiciled his ministry on the top of a mountain, soaring on the wings of faith. Soaring on the wings of faith. However you are able to get up, learn to stay there. Don't come to the valley. And he built the headquarters of his ministry on the hilltop. The Philistines will not go to him there. When you are in your place, the law of place. When you are in your place, you don't struggle. But the Bible says he now loved a woman in the valley. Put your love where your strength is. Invest your resources where your strength is. In the valley, the lords of the Philistines came to meet him. Verse 5. The lords of the Philistines came unto her, the woman, and said to her, entice him and see wherein his great strength lieth, and by what means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him, and we will give you, every one of us, 1,100 pieces of silver. The whole ministry of Samson had been reduced to a price. On 2 occasions, an angel came to this world because of you. We are now pricing you. If we go to heaven to ask what your value is, they will say it's not for sale. You have a Nazarite mandate. Ever before your mother conceived you, the angel came two times to this world because of you alone, to tell your mother the details of how you are supposed to live. You are not such a person. What are you doing in the valley? Now that you are in the valley, there's a valley price. If you go to the house of Joseph and ask the father how much, the father of Joseph will tell you that it's not for sale. But if by any means you now end up by the roadside, they'll price you 20 pieces of silver. Jesus is Lord of Lords and King of Kings, yes. But when he came down here, they put 30 pieces of silver on him. I can understand why he came down. He came to save us. I can't understand why you went down. Put your love where your strength is. Life in the valley. Even if you are the minister of women affairs, if in the evening you wear skimpy and stand on Allen's Avenue, an idiot will place a price on you for the night. Where we find you is what determines your price. What are you doing in the valley? You are not meant there. You don't belong there. You don't have a house there. You don't have your destiny there. What are you doing in the valley when you are supposed to be at the mountaintop? Your backsliding took you to the valley, but I'm telling you, get up and let's go. Get up. Get up, let's go. Your indulgences and compromises and name it, and you have come up with different names to justify your compromises and indulgences. But that's where you find yourself now. You are now a valley brother, and you are now attracting a valley price. You are now a valley sister, and you are now attracting a valley price. When if you have stayed on the mountain top, they will tell whoever is bringing money that this one is not for sale.